Have you ever wondered why men seem to struggle with anxiety in ways that are often overlooked? It's time to uncover the untold truths about how anxiety affects men differently, and why their experiences remain largely hidden. Contrary to popular belief, anxiety isn't just about overt panic attack or visible distress. For many men, it's a silent battle fought behind closed doors, shaped by a cocktail of societal expectations and personal perceptions. The traditional image of men as stoic problem solvers might be doing more harm than good, leading to a unique form of anxiety that's rarely discussed, profoundly impactful. In this eye-opening exploration, we'll delve into why men's anxiety often goes unnoticed, how their sense of control, or lack thereof, creates real, insurmountable problems, and the crucial steps needed to break free from this cycle. Get ready to challenge conventional wisdom and discover the profound, often hidden aspects of men's mental health. Anxiety isn't a one-size-fits-all experience. It varies significantly between genders. For men, the face of anxiety often looks different. Instead of openly discussing their feelings, they might struggle silently, their anxiety manifesting in ways that differ from the stereotypical image of anxiety. This gendered lens shapes how anxiety is perceived and managed, influencing not just personal reactions, but also societal expectations. Men might grapple with anxiety in isolation, believing that their experiences don't fit the usual narrative, creating a unique challenge in addressing and understanding their mental well-being. In many ways, this discrepancy affects how men approach their mental health. While women might be encouraged to talk about their anxieties, men often face a cultural expectation to tough it out. This can lead to a disconnect between their internal struggles and external behavior, making it harder to recognize and address their anxiety effectively. For instance, a man might mask his anxiety behind a facade of stoicism, while the underlying issues remain unaddressed. This approach can delay seeking help and hinder effective coping strategies, illustrating the need for a broader understanding of how different genders experience mental health challenges. By recognizing that anxiety manifests differently based on gender, we can begin to understand why traditional methods of addressing it might not always apply. For men, it might be more beneficial to explore tailored approaches that consider their unique experiences and societal pressures. This nuanced view opens up new avenues for self-improvement and personal development, encouraging men to seek out solutions that align with their specific needs. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the concept of low perceived control and its impact on male anxiety. For many men, anxiety isn't just about feeling nervous. It's deeply tied to a perception of having little control over their lives. Imagine a man stuck in a storm, watching the waves crash around him, feeling as though every attempt to steer his ship is futile. This sense of helplessness can lead to chronic stress and heightened anxiety, as problems seem to pile up with no clear way to resolve them. This lack of perceived control creates a cycle where every small issue feels like a monumental challenge, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy and frustration. When men perceive their control over situations as limited, it often translates into a broader feeling of powerlessness in their daily lives. This can be seen in various scenarios, from work-related stress to personal relationships. A man may feel overwhelmed by responsibilities, believing that no matter how hard he tries, he can't make a significant impact. This mindset can paralyze him, making it difficult to take proactive steps towards resolving his problems and contributing to ongoing anxiety and mental strain. Addressing this issue involves more than just acknowledging it. It requires actionable strategies to regain a sense of control. For example, setting small, achievable goals can help shift the perception of powerlessness to one of empowerment. Encouraging men to break down large tasks into manageable steps and gradually rebuild their confidence and sense of control. Understanding and tackling this issue is crucial for effective personal development and overcoming the barriers to mental well-being. Next, we will explore how these perceived control issues can lead to physical symptoms, which complicate the experience of anxiety even further. Anxiety manifests differently in men, often showing up through physical symptoms rather than the emotional or psychological signs more commonly recognized. For instance, a man struggling with anxiety might experience persistent headaches, unexplained body tremors, or a noticeable loss of appetite. These symptoms can be puzzling, as they don't always align with the typical descriptions of anxiety. This physical manifestation often complicates diagnosis and treatment, as it may be misattributed to other health issues or overlooked entirely. Men may not always connect these physical symptoms with their mental state, partly due to societal norms that discourage open discussions about mental health. For example, a man might brush off a chronic headache as a result of work stress, never considering it might be linked to anxiety. This disconnection can prevent effective treatment and leave anxiety unaddressed. Recognizing that these physical symptoms are valid indicators of anxiety is essential for proper diagnosis and treatment. Addressing physical symptoms as part of a comprehensive approach to mental health can lead to more effective management strategy. Understanding that physical symptoms are a legitimate aspect of anxiety for men can help in developing a more holistic approach to treatment. Techniques such as regular exercise, proper nutrition, and stress management practices can alleviate these physical manifestations while also addressing the underlying anxiety. Recognizing and treating anxiety through this lens opens up new possibilities for personal growth and mental well-being. In the next section, we will discuss how men's self-created problems, stemming from their perceived control issues, further complicate their mental health struggle. Men's perception of having limited control can often lead them to create problems that seem insurmountable. When feeling powerless, it's not uncommon for men to exacerbate their difficulty, turning manageable issues into seemingly unsolvable crises. Imagine a man who, feeling overwhelmed by work, might avoid addressing small issues, only to have them accumulate into major obstacles. This tendency to amplify problems can further entrench feelings of inadequacy and stress, reinforcing the belief that their situation is beyond repair. This self-creating aspect of anxiety means that men often end up in a cycle where their perceived lack of control generates more problems, which in turn feeds back into their sense of powerlessness. For example, a man avoids confronting a financial issue due to anxiety. The issue grows worse over time, leading to even more anxiety. This cycle can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the perception of control, or lack thereof, creates real tangible obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. Addressing this cycle requires proactive steps to break the pattern of problem creation. Encouraging men to tackle issues early on, set realistic goals, and seek support can help manage and mitigate the self-created problems. By focusing on actionable solutions and gradually rebuilding a sense of control, men can start to transform their mental landscape and reduce the anxiety that stems from these compounded issues. Next, we'll explore how restrictive emotional norms contribute to the unique experience of anxiety among men. From a young age, men are often taught to prioritize problem-solving over expressing emotion. This socialization can lead to a form of restrictive emotionality, where men feel compelled to fix issues rather than acknowledging and discussing their feelings. Imagine a man who, instead of talking about his stress, tries to solve every problem on his own, pushing his emotions aside. This approach can lead to a buildup of unexpressed emotions, intensifying feelings of anxiety and making it harder to address the root causes of their distress. The emphasis on problem-solving over emotional expression means that many men internalize their struggles, creating a unique form of anxiety that might not align with traditional symptoms. For example, a man might feel anxious, but instead of sharing his feelings, he might dive deeper into work or hobbies, masking the underlying issue rather than confronting it. This restrictive emotionality can prevent men from developing effective coping mechanisms and make it challenging to seek help when needed. Breaking free from these restrictive norms involves embracing a more balanced approach to emotional health. Encouraging men to open up about their feelings and seek support can alleviate some of the pressure to constantly solve problems on their own. By fostering a more accepting environment where expressing emotions is valued, men can better manage their anxiety and improve their overall mental well-being. In the next section, we'll delve into the biological and social factors that shape how men and women experience anxiety differently. Anxiety is influenced by a complex interplay of biological and social factors, which can vary significantly between men and women. For instance, estrogen levels in women can affect how they experience and cope with anxiety, while men might face different biological and social pressures that shape their anxiety experience. The hormonal differences between genders contribute to distinct anxiety patterns, influencing how symptoms present and are managed. Understanding these differences helps in developing tailored approaches to mental health. Social upbringing also plays a crucial role in shaping how men and women experience anxiety. Men are often raised with expectations of stoicism and emotional restraint, while women might be encouraged to express their emotions more openly. These social norms can create divergent paths for how anxiety manifests and is addressed. For example, a man who grows up with the expectation to be emotionally reserved might struggle more with internalizing anxiety compared to a woman who has been socialized to communicate her feelings more freely. Recognizing the impact of both biological and social factors on anxiety is essential for effective mental health strategy. Tailoring approaches to consider these differences allows for more nuanced and supportive intervention. By addressing both the biological and social aspects, we can better support individuals in managing their anxiety and promoting mental well-being. Next, we'll explore how hidden anxiety in men often complicates the diagnosis and treatment of their mental health issues. Men's anxiety frequently hides beneath the surface, not always displaying the typical signs that make it easy to identify. This hidden anxiety can manifest in subtle ways, such as irritability, frustration, or excessive work habits, rather than the more overt symptoms like panic attacks or emotional distress. For instance, a man might appear calm and collected outwardly, while struggling internally with overwhelming stress and anxiety. This discrepancy between appearance and internal experience can complicate the diagnosis and treatment of anxiety, as the signs are not always immediately apparent. The challenge of hidden anxiety means that many men may not seek help, even recognize their own struggles. They might dismiss their symptoms as merely being tired or stressed, overlooking the possibility that they are experiencing deeper, unrecognized anxiety. This can lead to a delay in seeking appropriate support, as the underlying issue remains unaddressed. For example, a man who becomes increasingly withdrawn might attribute it to busy work schedules, rather than acknowledging it as a sign of anxiety. Addressing hidden anxiety involves recognizing the more subtle signs and encouraging men to be more attuned to their emotional and psychological state. Techniques such as mindfulness, self-reflection, and seeking professional guidance can help uncover and address these hidden aspects of anxiety. By becoming more aware of how anxiety can present in less obvious ways, men can better manage their mental health and seek effective treatment. In the next section, we'll examine how men's perception versus reality shapes their internal environment and creates real, unfixable problems. Men's perception of having limited control over their lives significantly impacts their mental health, shaping their internal environment and manifesting as real, tangible problem. When men feel powerless, their perception can distort reality, leading them to view situations as more dire than they might actually be. This skewed perception can create self-fulfilling prophecies, where the belief in their lack of control turns manageable challenges into seemingly unfixable issues. For example, a man who feels overwhelmed by a minor work problem might perceive it as a major failure, exacerbating his anxiety and stress. This misalignment between perception and reality can contribute to a cycle of anxiety and helplessness. When men believe they have little control, they may avoid addressing problems, which only makes them worse over time. This avoidance can lead to the creation of additional issues, further reinforcing their belief that they are powerless. For instance, a man who avoids financial planning due to perceived inadequacy might find himself in deeper financial trouble, reinforcing the cycle of anxiety and control issues. Understanding this dynamic is crucial for effective personal development and mental health management. By addressing the gap between perception and reality, men can begin to challenge their beliefs about control and start taking proactive steps to resolve their problem. Techniques such as cognitive restructuring and setting achievable goals can help shift perceptions and improve their ability to manage challenges. In the next section, we'll explore how the cycle of stress created by low control perception feeds into itself, worsening anxiety. The cycle of stress driven by a perception of low control is a self-perpetuating loop that exacerbates anxiety. When men perceive that they have little control over their situations, stress levels rise, leading to physical symptoms like headaches and fatigue. These symptoms, in turn, reinforce feelings of helplessness, making the original perception of low control seem even more justified. For instance, a man who feels unable to manage his workload might experience physical exhaustion, which further convinces him that he is incapable of handling his responsibilities, intensifying his stress and anxiety. This cyclical pattern creates a reinforcing feedback loop where each component, low control perception, stress, and physical symptoms, feeds into and amplifies the others. The ongoing stress and its physical manifestations can become chronic, compounding the original problem and making it more difficult to break free from the cycle. For example, if a man perceives his financial situation as uncontrollable, the resulting stress might lead to poor sleep and health issues, which further diminish his ability to address the financial challenges, creating a worsening spiral. Breaking this cycle requires targeted interventions to address each element of the loop. Techniques such as stress management practices, cognitive behavioral therapy, and lifestyle changes can help disrupt the cycle and improve overall mental well-being. By focusing on gaining a sense of control and managing stress effectively, men can begin to reduce the impact of these cycles and foster better mental health. In the next section, we'll delve into how adherence to masculine norms like restrictive emotionality contributes to increased anxiety levels. Masculine norms, such as the expectation to limit emotional expression and focus on problem-solving, can significantly heighten anxiety levels among men. These societal expectations pressure men to conform to a Stoic ideal, discouraging them from openly discussing their emotions or seeking help. For example, a man might feel intense stress but refrain from sharing his feelings due to the fear of appearing weak or vulnerable. This adherence to restrictive norms can intensify feelings of isolation and anxiety, as men struggle to manage their mental health in silence. The impact of these norms is compounded by the internal conflict between societal expectations and personal experiences. Men who adhere strictly to these norms may experience a heightened sense of anxiety as they suppress their emotions and avoid seeking support. For instance, a man might prioritize work or hobbies as distractions from his emotional struggles, which can ultimately exacerbate his anxiety and prevent effective resolution. This conflict between societal pressure and personal well-being creates an environment where anxiety thrives. Addressing the impact of masculine norms involves challenging these societal expectations and promoting a more inclusive view of emotional expression. Encouraging men to openly discuss their feelings and seek support can help mitigate the negative effects of these norms. By redefining what it means to be strong and resilient, men can improve their mental health and reduce anxiety. Next, we'll explore practical steps men can take to navigate and overcome the unique challenges associated with their anxiety.